Hi, everybody. It is May 25th, Monday, Memorial Day weekend here. Uh, and I was going to give you another short story of what happened to me once when I always think of him, like I was telling you guys before, as a guardian angel that saved me from something, saved me from some sort of harm in this case. But I also want to give you guys a little more perspective on my history a little bit. Um, for those of you that don't know me, I was raised kind of a small town boy and kind of a farm boy all the way up until I didn't really move to a larger city until I was around 16 or 17. Started going more to high school. So again, it's like that perspective, and also I was always the black sheep of the family, kind of a nonconformist, very introverted, very self-analyzing. I guess kind of almost studying myself, like, what am I doing here? It's always kind of how I felt, and so sort of taking that in consideration. Like, I mean, everybody that when you live your life, you don't, if you don't know anything different other than looking at other people's lives, you think that's the norm. So for me, it was just the norm, just the way things were. So I didn't really think too much of it. But now when I look back at it, it's kind of an unusual life. Anyway, I was going to tell you about the one night I was working late at. I've been basically self-employed since for so many years. But I was working at this warehouse where I had my shop, and I was on my way home, and it was an intersection, those big cloverleaf intersections, where one highway changes to another one. So I was taking a right, taking off this off ramp, coming around, and this was like 3 in the morning or something. So I was very tired. Well, anyway, I fell asleep at the wheel, coming around the corner, and I was like, just very groggy. Had my steering wheel churned. Anyway, so I fell asleep where I actually hit the cement wall, as hard as I could on my right side, and my car flipped up on its side. So all I remember is waking up on my car is on its side, and there's sparks flying, and and I know I told you about this before. I had telepathic messages in my head. Well, like I said, the way I looked at it, it was my guardian angel telling me what to do. But anyway, it also, whenever you get a telepathic message, it's like an instant. It's not drawn out in a sentence or anything. But the information whoever was telling me what to do said to crank my wheel to the left and then push the seat at the same time. So I just did it. I was like, okay. So I cranked it and pushed the seat at the same time. And then I righted the car, so it actually went back to where it's supposed to be. So then I just went bang, and then I kind of woke up, and my car's straight on the side of the highway. And just as I did that, a big truck went by. So I'm glad I missed that one. I might have flipped out more. Anyway, so I'm waking up and realizing, did that just really happen? Well, of course it did. I couldn't get out of my driver's door, so I had to get out, look around. Sure enough, my mirror was gone, my doorknob was all crunched in, the whole side was all scraped. So it was still drivable, but the wheel, my right wheel, was kicked in a little bit, so it was always turning to the right. So I drove slowly and went all the way home. Went to sleep. When I woke up the next day, I looked at my car and went, wow. I was really shocked how that happened, but at the same time, I was like, wow, that could have been a lot worse. Anyway, it's another short story of some crazy stuff that has happened to me. So I kind of dodged a bullet on that one again. So yeah, it's just a short little story to tell you guys that and even at that, after experiencing all that, I started. That's what kind of spurred me on to look into stories about guardian angels saving people. A lot of really interesting stories. I really got into that. I started researching that. So yeah, instead of coming to conclusions though, I've always had kind of a mind go, okay, well, it could be angels. I was pretty much sure. But then again, at the same time, you're also asking yourself, well, what is it? What is a guardian angel? Not only that, but you start realizing not only am I getting intervention from outside, but all the stories I was reading, it's basically it's like we're being watched, and there's somehow these entities are intervening in our lives. Now, they can be negative and entities or positive entities, I guess. So I was just more keenly aware of that, going, well, I know that there's another world that exists beyond this what we see every day. It coexists with us, it watches us, watches over us. So yeah, ultimately that was kind of like the take I got from that. So hopefully this is interesting and you guys can kind of relate to it. I imagine you guys have some really interesting stories too. If you'd like to share them, that'd be cool. I'd really like to hear from you guys as well. Okay, so have a good weekend, and I'll talk to you later this week.